and see other greater excesses of my love. Then my mind brought itself into the maternal womb and remained stupefied in considering a God so great in heaven, now so annihilated, restricted, constrained, as to be unable to move and almost even to breathe. The interior voice told me, "Do you see how much I have loved you? Oh, please, make me a little space in your heart. Remove everything which is not mine, so you will give me more freedom to move and to breathe." My heart was consumed. I asked for his forgiveness. I promised to be completely his own. I poured myself out in crying. But I say this to my confusion. I would go back to my usual defects. "Oh, Jesus, how good you have been with this miserable creature." In this way I would spend the second hour of the day, and then, so forth with the rest. I would be annoying if I told them all. And I would do this sometimes kneeling and sometimes when I was impeded by my family, also while working. In fact, the interior voice gave me no respite and no peace if I did not do what it wanted. Therefore, work was not a hindrance for me to doing what I had to do. In this way, I spent the days of the novena, and when the eve came, I felt ignited more than ever with unusual fervor. I was alone in the room, and all of a sudden little baby Jesus came before me, all beautiful, yes, but shivering, in the act of wanting to hug me. I stood up and ran to hug him, but in the act of squeezing him he disappeared from me, and this occurred as many as 3 times. I remained so moved and ignited that I cannot explain it. But then, after some time, I did not take it much into account. I did not tell anyone, and from time to time I would fall into my usual defects. However, the interior voice never left me again. In everything it reprimanded me, it corrected me, it encouraged me. In a word, the Lord acted with me like a good father whose child tries to deviate from the right path. And he uses all diligence and care to hold him back so as to make of him his honor, his glory, his crown. But, O Lord, too ungrateful have I been with you. So, from the beginning, the Divine Master began to strip my heart of all creatures, and through an interior voice, he would tell me, "I am all that is beautiful and that deserves to be loved. See, if you do not remove this little world that surrounds you, that is, thoughts of creatures, imagination, I cannot enter freely into your heart. This murmuring in your mind is a hindrance to letting you hear my voice more clearly, to pouring my graces, to truly enamoring you of me. Promise me that you will be all mine, and I myself will put my hand in the work. You are right that you can do nothing. Do not fear, I will do everything. Give me your will. This is enough for me." This would happen mostly during communion. So I would promise him to be all his own. I would ask his forgiveness, for up to that point, I had not been so. I would say to him that I truly wanted to love him, and I prayed him never to leave me alone. And the voice would continue, No, I will be together with you, observing all of your actions, movements, and desires." So, I would feel him upon me for the whole day. He reprimanded me in everything. For example, if I let myself be carried away in conversing a little too much with my family, even of indifferent things which were not necessary, the interior voice would tell me, "These discourses fill your mind with things that do not belong to me. They surround your heart with dust, such as to make you feel my grace as weaken you, no longer alive. Oh, please, imitate me when I was in the house of Nazareth. My mind was occupied with nothing but the glory of the Father and the salvation of souls. My mouth uttered nothing but holy discourses. With my words I tried to repair for the offenses against the Father, to dart through hearts and draw them to my love, and primarily my mother and Saint Joseph. In a word, everything called upon God, everything was done for God, and everything referred to him. Why could you not do the same?" I remained mute, all confused. I tried to be alone as much as I could. I confessed to him my weakness, and I asked for his help and grace to be able to do what he wanted, because, by myself, I could do nothing but evil. If during the day my mind was occupied with thinking about people I loved, he would immediately reprimand me, telling me, "Is this the way you love me? Who has ever loved you like me? See, if you do not stop it, I will leave you." Sometimes I would receive such and so many bitter reproaches that I would do nothing but cry. One morning in particular, after communion, he gave me a light so clear about the great love he had for me and about the fickleness and inconstancy of creatures that my heart was so convinced as to be incapable, from that time on, of loving anyone. He taught me how to love people without detaching myself from him, that is, by looking at creatures as images of God, in such a way that if I received good from creatures, I was to think that God alone was the prime author of that good and that he had used the creature in order to send it to me, so my heart would be bound more to God. If then I received mortifications, I was to look at them also as instruments in the hands of God for my sanctification, so my heart would not stay huffy with my neighbor. In this way, it happened that I would look at all creatures in God. Whatever defect I might see in them, I would never lose esteem for them. If they mocked me, I felt obliged, thinking that they were allowing me to make more gains for my soul. If they praised me, I received these praises with contempt, saying, "Today this, tomorrow they may hate me, considering their inconstancy." In sum, my heart acquired such freedom that I myself cannot explain it. When the Divine Master freed me from the external world, then he put his hand to purify my interior, and through an interior voice he told me, "Now we are alone. There is no one left who may disturb us. Aren't you happier now than before, when you had to content many upon many? You see, it is easier to content one alone. You must consider as if you and I were alone in the world. Promise me to be faithful, and I will pour such and so many graces into you that you yourself will be amazed." Then he continued, "I have made great designs upon you. As long as you correspond to me, I want to make of you a perfect image of me, from the moment I was born up to my death. I myself will teach you little by little how to do it." And it happened in this way. Every morning, after communion, he would tell me what I was supposed to do during the day. I will say everything briefly, because after so much time it is impossible to say everything. I don't remember for sure, but it seems to me that he told me that the first thing which was necessary in order to purify the interior of my heart was the annihilation of myself, that is, humility. And he continued, "See, so that I may pour my graces in your heart, I really want you to understand that you can do nothing by yourself. I am very much wary of those souls who attribute what they do to themselves, wanting to make of my graces as many thefts. On the other hand, with those who know themselves, I am generous in pouring my graces in torrents. Knowing very well that they can attribute nothing to themselves, they are grateful to me, they hold it in that esteem which befits it, and they live with the continuous fear that, if they do not correspond to me, I may take away from them that which I gave, knowing that it does not belong to them. It is all the opposite in the hearts which reek of pride. I cannot even enter into their hearts, because they are so swollen with themselves that there is no space in which to put myself. These miserable ones take my graces into no account, and they go from fall to fall up to their ruin. Therefore, on this day, I want you to make continuous acts of humility. I want you to be like a baby wrapped in swaddling clothes, who can move neither a foot to take a step, nor a hand to work, but expects everything from his mother. In the same way, you will stay close to me like a baby, always praying me to assist you, to help you, always confessing your nothingness, in sum, expecting everything from me." I tried to do as much as I could to content him. I would make myself smaller, I would annihilate myself, and sometimes I reached the point of feeling my being as almost undone, in such a way that I could not work, nor take one step, or even one breath if he did not sustain me. I saw myself as so bad that I was ashamed of being seen by people, knowing myself as the ugliest, and, in reality, I am still so. So, as much as I could shun people, I shunned them, saying to myself, "Oh, if they knew how bad I am, and if they could see the graces that the Lord is giving me, for I wouldn't tell anything to anyone, and that I am always the same, oh, how horrified they would be with me." Then, in the morning, when I would go again to communion, it seemed that in coming into me he made feast for the contentment he felt in seeing me so annihilated. He would tell me other things about the annihilation of myself, but in ways which were always different from the previous time. I believe that he spoke to me not once, but hundreds of times, and if he had spoken to me thousands of times, he would have had always new ways to speak about the same virtue. Oh, my divine master, how wise you are, had I at least corresponded to you. I remember that one morning, while he spoke to me about the same virtue, he told me that because of lack of humility I had committed many sins, and that if I had been more humble, I would have kept closer to him, and I would not have done so much evil. He made me understand how ugly sin is, the affront that this miserable little worm had made to Jesus Christ, the horrendous ingratitude, the enormous wickedness, the harm caused to my soul. I was so dismayed that I did not know what to do in order to repair. I did some mortifications, I asked for some more from the confessor, but few were given to me, so they all seemed shadows to me, and I did nothing but think about my sins, though clinging more and more to him. I had such fear of moving away and of doing worse than before, that I myself cannot express it. When I was with him, I did nothing but tell him of the pain I felt for having offended him. I kept asking for his forgiveness. I thanked him for having been so good to me, and I said to him from the heart, "See, O Lord, the time I have lost, while I could have loved you." I was unable to say anything but the grave evil I had done. Finally, one day, reprimanding me, he told me, "I do not want you to think about it. When a soul has humbled herself, being convinced of having done wrong, and has cleansed her soul in the sacrament of confession, and is ready to die rather than offend me, it is an affront to my mercy. It is a hindrance to drawing her close to my love, because her mind is always trying to wrap itself with the mud of the past. She also prevents me from letting her take flight toward heaven, because she is always with those ideas wrapped within herself, as she tries to think about it. And then, see, I no longer remember anything. I have perfectly forgotten about it. Do you see any rancor or shadow on my part?" And I said to him, "No, Lord, you are so good." But I felt my heart split with tenderness. "So, are you the one who wants to carry these things on?" And no, I don't want to. And he, "Let us think about loving and contenting each other." From that time on, I did not think about it so much. I did as much as I could in order to content him, and I prayed that he himself would teach me what I should do in order to repair for the time past. And he said to me, "I am ready to do what you want. See, the first thing that I told you I wanted from you was the imitation of my life. So, let us see what you lack." "Lord," I said to him, "I lack everything. I have nothing." And he said to me, "Do not fear. Little by little we will do everything. I myself know how weak you are, but it is from me that you must draw strength." I don't remember it in sequence, but I will say what I can, and he added, "I want you to be always upright in your actions. With one eye look at me, and with the other eye look at what you are doing. I want creatures to disappear from you completely. If you receive a command, do not look at the people, no. Rather, you must think that I myself want you to do what you are being commanded. So, with your eye fixed in me, you will not judge anyone, you will not look at whether the thing is painful or enjoyable, whether you can do it or not. Closing your eyes to all this, you will open them to look at me alone. You will take me with you, thinking that my gaze is fixed on you, and you will say to me, 'Lord, for you alone I do this. For you alone I want to work, no longer of the creatures.' So, if you walk, if you work, if you speak, in anything you do, your only aim must be that of pleasing me alone. Oh! How many defects you will avoid if you do this." Other times, he would say to me, "I also want that, if people mortify you, insult you, contradict you, you keep your gaze fixed in me, thinking that from my own lips I am saying to you, 'Daughter, I myself am the one who wants you to suffer this, not the creatures.' Remove your gaze from them. You and I, always. All the others you must destroy. See, I want to make you beautiful by means of these sufferings. I want to enrich you with merits, work your soul, render you similar to me. You will give it to me as a gift. You will thank me affectionately, and will be grateful to those people who give you the occasion to suffer, repaying them with some benefit. By doing this, you will walk as upright before me. Nothing will ever again give you restlessness, and you will enjoy perfect peace. After I tried to exercise myself in these things for some time, now doing it and now falling, although I see clearly that I still lack this spirit of uprightness, and I am ever more confused, thinking of my great ingratitude he spoke to me about. And he made me understand the necessity of the spirit of mortification. Although I remember that in all these things that he told me, he always added that everything should be done for love of him, and that the most beautiful virtues, the greatest sacrifices, would become insipid if they did not take origin from love. Charity, he said to me, is a virtue that gives life and splendor to all of the others, in such a way that without it, they are all dead. My eye receives no attraction, and they have no power over my heart. Be careful, then, and let your works, even the least ones, be invested by charity. That is, in me, with me, and for me. So, let's go back to mortification. He said to me, I want all your things, even the necessary ones, to be done in a spirit of... See, your works cannot be recognized by me as mine if they do not have the mark of mortification. Just as a coin is not recognized by the peoples if it does not carry on itself the image of their king, even more it is despised and neglected. The same with your works. If they do not have the graft with my cross, they cannot have any value. See, now it is not about destroying the creatures, but yourself, making you die, that you may live only in me and of my own life. It is true that it will cost you more than what you have done, but pluck up courage. Do not fear. It is not you who will do it, but I myself will work in you. So I received more lights about the annihilation of myself. You are nothing but a shadow. As you try to grab it, it escapes you. You are nothing. I felt so annihilated that I would have wanted to hide in the deepest abysses, but I saw myself incapable of doing it. I felt such blushing that I remained mute. While I was in this undoing of my nothingness, he said to me, Draw near me, cling to my arm, I will sustain you with my hands and you will receive strength. You are blind, but my light will serve you as guide. See, I will place myself in front of you, and you will do nothing but look at me in order to imitate me. Then he said to me, The first thing I want you to mortify is your will. That self must be destroyed in you. I want you to keep it sacrificed as victim before me, so that your will and mine may become one. Aren't you happy? Yes, Lord, but give me the grace, for I see that by myself I can do nothing. And he continued, Yes, I myself will contradict you in everything and occasionally by means of creatures. And so it happened. For example, if I woke up in the morning and I did not get up immediately, the interior voice would tell me, You rest, while I had no other bed but the cross. Hurry up, not so much satisfaction. If I walked and my sight would run a little farther, he would immediately reprimand me. I do not want this. Do not let your sight move away from you but the length of one step, so that you won't trip. If I was in the countryside and I saw flowers and trees, he would say to me, I have created everything for love of you, and you deprive your sight of this pleasure for love of me. Even in the most innocent and holy things, as for example the cloths for the altars, the processions, he would say to me, You must take no other pleasure, but in me alone. If I was sitting while working, he would say to me, You are too comfortable. Don't you remember that my life was a continuous suffering, and you? In order to content him, I would immediately shift to half of the chair, leaving the other half empty, and sometimes, jokingly, I said to him, See, O Lord, half the chair is empty. Come and sit near me. Sometimes it seemed he would content me, and I felt such delight that I myself cannot express it. Sometimes, then, while I was working a little slowly and listlessly, he would say to me, Hurry up, help yourself, for the time you gain by helping yourself you will spend with me in prayer. Sometimes, he himself would assign to me how much work I was supposed to do. Then I would pray him to come and help me. Yes, he would answer me, We will do it together, so that when you have finished, we will be more free. And it would happen that in 1 hour or 2 I did what I was supposed to do during the whole day. Then I would go to pray, and he gave me much light and told me many things, such that it would be too long if I wanted to say them all. I remember that while I was alone, working, I noticed that the thread was not enough to finish that work, and that I would need to go to my family in order to get some. So I turned to him and I said, "What is the purpose of having helped me, my beloved? As I see that I need to go to my family, I may find people who may prevent me from coming back here, and this time our conversation will come to nothing." What? He said to me, "Don't you have faith?" Yes. Well then, do not fear, for I will make you complete everything. And so it happened, and then I would start to pray. If then, at lunchtime, I ate something tasty, he would immediately reprimand me interiorly, saying, "Have you perhaps forgotten that I had no other taste but suffering for love of you? And that you must have no other taste but mortifying yourself for love of me? Leave it aside and eat that which you like the least." And I would immediately take it and bring it to the maid, or I would say that I didn't want it anymore, and many times I remained almost on an empty stomach. However, when I would go to pray, I would receive so much strength and feel so satiated that I would feel nausea for everything. Other times, then, in order to contradict me, if I did not feel like eating, he would say to me, "I want you to eat for love of me, and as the food unites with the body, pray that my love may unite with your soul, and everything will be sanctified." In a word, without going any further, even in the small, he tried to make my will die, so that it might live only for him. He allowed that I be contradicted also by the confessor. For example, I would feel a great need to receive communion. For the whole day and night I would do nothing but prepare myself. My eyes could not close to sleep because of the continuous throbbing of my heart, and I would say to him, "Lord, hurry, for I cannot be without you. Accelerate the hours, let the sun rise quickly, for I cannot resist any more, my heart is fainting." He himself would make me such loving invitations that I would feel my heart crack. He would say to me, "See, I am alone. Do not be troubled because you cannot sleep. This is about keeping company with your God, with your spouse, with your all, who is continuously offended. Oh, please, do not deny me this relief, because then, in your afflictions I will not leave you." But while I was in these dispositions, in the morning I would go to the confessor, and without knowing why, the first things he would say to me was, "I do not want you to receive communion." I tell the truth, this was so bitter for me that sometimes I would do nothing but cry. I would not dare to say anything to the confessor because he himself wanted him to do so, otherwise he would reproach me. But I would go to him and tell him of my pain. "Ah, my good, is this the vigil we have kept last night, that after so much waiting and yearning I was to remain deprived of you? I know well that I must obey, but tell me something. Can I be without you? Who will give me strength? And then, who will have the courage to depart from this church without bringing you along? I don't know what to do, but you can remedy everything." While pouring myself out in this way, I would feel a fire draw near me and a flame enter my heart. I would feel him within me, and immediately he would say to me, calm yourself, here I am, inside your heart. What do you fear now? Do not afflict yourself any more, I myself want to dry your tears. You are right, you could not be without me, could you? Then I would remain so very annihilated within myself, and I would say to him that if I were good, he would not have disposed it that way, and I prayed him never to leave me again, for I did not want to be without him. After these things, one day, after communion, I felt him within me, all love, loving me so much that I myself was very much amazed, for I saw myself as so bad and unrequiting. And I said within myself, if only I were good and requiting. I fear that he may leave me. I have always had this fear that he might leave me, and I still do, and sometimes the pain I feel is so great that I believe that the pain of death would be minor, and if he himself does not come to calm me, I can give myself no peace, while he wants to draw more intimately close to me. While I felt him within me in this way, through an interior voice, he said to me, my beloved, the things of the past have been nothing but a preparation. Now I want to come to the facts, and in order to dispose your heart to do what I want from you, that is, the imitation of my life, I want you to enter into the immense sea of my passion. After you have understood well the bitterness of my pains, the love with which I suffered them, who I am who suffered so much, and who you are, a most wretched creature, your heart will not dare to oppose the blows, the cross, which I have prepared only for your good. On the contrary, by just thinking that I, your master, have suffered so much, your pains will seem shadows to you compared to mine. Suffering will be sweet for you, and you will reach the point of not being able to be without sufferings. My nature trembled at the mere thought of sufferings. I prayed that he himself would give me the strength, because without him I would use his very gifts to offend the giver. So I gave all of myself to meditating the Passion, and this did so much good to my soul that I believe that all the good came to me from that source. I saw the Passion of Jesus Christ as an immense sea of light, which wounded me all over with his innumerable rays of patience, of humility, of obedience, and of many other virtues. I saw myself all surrounded by this light, and I remained annihilated at seeing myself so different from him. Those rays that inundated me were so many reproaches for me. I heard them say, "A God so patient, and you? A God humble and submitted also to his very enemies, and you? A God who suffers so much for love of you, and where are your sufferings for love of him?" Sometimes he himself would make me the narration of the pains suffered by him, and I was so touched that I would cry bitterly. One day, while working, I was considering the most bitter pains that my good Jesus suffered. I felt my heart so oppressed by the pain that I could not breathe. Fearing something, I wanted to distract myself by going out to the balcony. But as I go about looking in the middle of the street, what do I see? I see the street all filled with people, and in the middle of it my loving Jesus with the cross upon his shoulders. Some pulled him to one side, some to another. All panting, with his face dripping with blood, he raised his eyes toward me in the act of asking for help. Who can tell the sorrow I felt and the impression that a scene so pitiful made on my soul? I immediately went inside. I myself did not know where I was. I felt my heart crack with pain. I shouted, and crying, I said to him, "My Jesus, if only I could help you. If only I could free you from those wolves so rabid. I wish at least to suffer those pains in your place, to give a relief to my sorrow. Oh, please, my good, give me suffering, for it is not fair that you suffer so much, while I, a sinner, remain without suffering." From that time on, I remember that such a great yearning for suffering ignited within me that it has not dampened yet. I also remember that after communion I would ardently pray him to concede me suffering, and sometimes, to content me, he seemed to take the thorns from his crown and prick my heart. Other times, I felt him take my heart in his hands and squeeze it so tightly that I felt faint for the pain. When I realized that people might notice something, and he was disposed to give me these pains, I would immediately say to him, "Lord, what are you doing? I beg you to give me suffering, but let it be hidden to everyone." Up to a certain time, he made me content, but my sins have made me unworthy to suffer hiddenly, without anyone noticing it. I remember that many times, after communion, he said to me, "You will not be able to truly resemble me other than by means of sufferings. Up until now, I have been together with you. Now I want to leave you alone a little bit, without letting myself be felt. See, up to now I have led you by the hand, instructing you and correcting you in everything, and you have done nothing but follow me. Now I want you to do it by yourself. However, be more attentive than before, thinking that my gaze is fixed on you, though I do not let myself be heard, and that when I return to make myself heard, I will come either to reward you, if you have been faithful to me, or to chastise you, if you have been ungrateful to me." I was so frightened and terrified at such intimidation that I said to him, "Lord, my all and my life, how can I survive without you? Who will give me the strength? How is it, after you have made me leave everything, so much so that I feel as if no one existed for me, you want to leave me alone and abandoned? What, have you perhaps forgotten how bad I am, and that without you I can do nothing? And because of this objection, assuming a more serious look, he added, the reason is that I want you to understand well who you are. See, I do this for your good. Do not be saddened. I want to prepare your heart to receive the graces which I have designed for you. Up until now, I have assisted you sensibly. Now I will do it less sensibly. I will make you touch your nothingness with your own hands. I will fuse you thoroughly in profound humility, in order to be able to build high walls upon you. So, instead of afflicting yourself, you should rejoice and thank me, because the faster I make you cross the stormy sea, the sooner you will reach the port of safety. The harder the trials to which I will submit you, the greater the graces I will give you. Courage, then, courage, and I will come back soon. And in saying this, he seemed to bless me, and then he left. Who can tell the pain I felt, the void he left in my interior, the bitter tears I shed? But I resigned myself to his holy will. It seemed that from afar I kissed his hand which had blessed me, saying to him, "Goodbye, O holy spouse, goodbye." I felt as if everything was over for me, because I had only him, and since he was missing, no other consolation was left to me. Rather, everything turned into most bitter pains. Even more, creatures themselves would provoke my pain, in such a way that all the things I would look at seemed to be saying to me, "See, we are works of your beloved, and he, where is he?" If I looked at the water, at the fire, at flowers, and even at stones, immediately my thought would say, "Ah, these are works of your spouse. Ah, they have the good of seeing him, and you do not see him. Oh, please, works of my Lord, give me news. Tell me, where is he? He told me he would come soon, but who knows when." At times, I would reach such a bitter desolation that I would feel breathless, ice cold all over, and a shiver throughout my whole person. Sometimes my family would notice it. They attributed it to a physical trouble and wanted to put me under treatment and call the doctors. Sometimes they insisted so much that they succeeded, but I would do as much as I could to remain alone, so they noticed it only a few times. I remembered still all of the graces, the words, the corrections, the reproaches, and I could see with a clear eye how all the work done until then, everything had been the work of His grace, and that there was nothing left of myself but mere nothing and inclination to evil. I could touch with my own hand how, without Him, I could no longer feel love so sensibly, and those lights so clear during meditation, such that I would remain there for 2 or 3 hours. However, I did as much as I could in order to do whatever I used to do when I felt Him within me, because I felt these words being repeated to me: "If you are faithful, I will come to reward you. If ungrateful, to chastise you." In these way I would spend sometimes 2 days, sometimes 4, more or less, as He pleased. My only comfort was to receive Him in the sacrament. Ah, yes, certainly, I found Him there. I could not doubt. And I remember that only a few times He would not let Himself be heard, because I prayed Him and importuned Him so much that He would make me content. However, He was not loving and lovable, but severe. After I would spend those days in that state described above, I would feel Him come back within me, especially if I had been faithful to Him. He spoke to me more clearly, and since during the previous days I had not been able to conceive one word or feel anything within me, I came to know that it was not my fantasy, as I said to myself many times before, so much so that, of what has been said up to here, I would say nothing, either to the confessor or to any other living soul. But I did as much as I could to correspond to Him, otherwise He would wage such a war against me that I would have no peace. Ah, Lord, You have been so good to me, and I, still so bad. Continuing what I had started, I would feel Him within me, I would hug Him, I would clasp Him to myself, and say to Him, "Beloved good, see how hard has been our separation." And He would say to me, "What you have gone through is nothing yet. Prepare yourself for harder trials. This is why I have come, to dispose your heart and to strengthen it. Now you will tell me everything you have gone through, your doubts and fears, all of your difficulties, that I may teach you how to behave during my absence. So I would make him the narration of my pains, telling him, Lord, you see, without you I was unable to do anything good. The meditation, I did it all distracted, ugly, so much so that I did not have the courage to offer it to you at communion. I was unable to stay there for hours, as when I could feel you, I saw myself alone. I had no one with whom to converse. I felt completely empty. The pain of your absence made me feel mortal agonies. My nature wanted to hurry up so as to escape that pain, more so, since it seemed to me that I did nothing but waste time. And then, the fear that, in coming back, you might chastise me because I had not been faithful. So I didn't know what to do. And then, the pain because you are offended continuously, and I was unable to do those acts of reparation as you taught me before, and those visits to the most holy sacrament for the different offenses you receive. Tell me, then, what should I have done? And he, benignly, instructing me, said to me, 1. You were wrong in being so disturbed. Don't you know that I am spirit of peace, and the first thing I recommend is that you do not disturb the peace of the heart? When in prayer you are not able to recollect yourself, I do not want you to think of this or that, of how it is or how it is not, because in doing so, you yourself call the distraction. Instead, when you find yourself in that state, the first thing to do is to humble yourself, confessing that you deserve those pains and placing yourself in the arms of the executioner, like a humble little lamb that licks his hand while he kills it. The same for you, while seeing yourself beaten, disheartened and alone, you will resign yourself to my holy dispositions, you will thank me with all your heart, you will kiss my hand that strikes you, recognizing yourself unworthy of those pains. Then, you will offer to me that bitterness, anguish and tedium, praying me to accept them as a sacrifice of praise, of satisfaction for your sins, and of reparation for the offenses that they give me. If you do so, your prayer will ascend before my throne as most fragrant incense. It will wound my heart, and you will draw new graces and new charisms upon you. In seeing you humble and resigned, all plunged into your nothingness, the devil will not have the power to get close. And here is how, where you thought you were losing, you will make great gains. 2. As far as communion, I do not want you to afflict yourself because you are not able to stay there. Know that this is a shadow of the pains I suffered in Gethsemane. What will happen when I make you share in the scourges, the thorns and the nails? The thought of greater pains will make you suffer the minor pains with more courage. So, when during communion you find yourself alone, agonizing, think, I want a little bit of your company in my agony in the garden. Therefore, place yourself near me and make a comparison between your pains and mine. See, you, alone and deprived of me, and I too, alone, abandoned by my most faithful friends who are there, sleeping, left alone even by my divine Father, and then, in the midst of most bitter pains, surrounded by snakes, by vipers, by rabid dogs, which were the sins of men, among which yours too did their part, such that they seemed to want to devour me alive. My heart was taken by such grips that I felt as if it was under a press, so much so that I sweat living blood. Tell me, when did you arrive at suffering so much? Therefore, when you find yourself deprived of me, afflicted, empty of any consolation, filled with sadness, with worries, with pains, come close to me, dry that blood of mine from me, offer those pains to me as relief for my most bitter agony. By doing so, you will find the way to be able to stay with me after communion. It is not that you will not suffer, because the most bitter pain I can give to the souls dear to me is to deprive them of me, but by thinking that through your suffering you give relief to me, you will also be content. 3. As for the visits and the acts of reparation, you must know that everything I did in the course of 33 years, from when I was born up to when I died, I am continuing in the sacrament of the altar. Therefore, I want you to visit me 33 times a day, honoring my years and also uniting with me in the sacrament with my own intentions, that is, reparation, adoration. You will do this at all times, with the first thought of the morning, fly before the tabernacle in which I am present for love of you, and visit me, and also with the last thought of the evening, while you sleep at night, before and after your meal. at the beginning of each one of your actions while walking, working. While he was saying this to me, I saw myself all confused, not knowing whether I could manage to do them, and I said to him, Lord, I beg you to be with me until I acquire the habit of doing them, for I know that with you I can do everything, but without you, what can miserable I do? And he benignly added, Yes, yes, I will content you. When have I ever failed you? I want your goodwill. Whatever you want, I will give to you. And so he did. After some time, now with him and now deprived of him, one day, after communion, I felt more intimately united with him. He asked me various questions, as for example, if I loved him, if I was ready to do what he wanted, even the sacrifice of my life for love of him. He also said to me, And you? Tell me what you want. If you are ready to do what I want, I too will do what you want. I saw myself all confused. I could not understand that way of his of operating. But with time I understood that that way of acting is when he wants to dispose the soul to new and heavy crosses. He knows how to draw her so close to himself with those stratagems that the soul does not dare to oppose what he wants. So I said to him, Yes, I love you, but you tell me yourself, can I find anything more beautiful, more holy, more lovable than you? And then, why ask me if I am ready to do what you want, when it has been so long since I delivered my will to you, and I prayed you not to spare me even tearing me to pieces, as long as I may give you pleasure? I abandon myself in you, O holy spouse. Operate freely, do with me whatever you want, but give me your grace, for by myself I am nothing and can do nothing. And he repeated to me, Are you truly ready for anything I want? I saw myself more confused, annihilated, and I said, Yes, I am ready, but almost trembling. And he, compassionating me, continued to tell me, Do not fear, I will be your strength. It is not you that will suffer, but I myself will suffer and fight within you. See, I want to purify your soul from every slightest spot which might hinder my love within you. I want to test your faithfulness. But how can I see if this is true, other than by placing you in the midst of the battle? Know then, that I want to put you in the midst of demons. I will give them freedom to torment you and to tempt you, so that after you have fought the virtues with the opposite vices, you may already find yourself in possession of those very virtues which you think you are losing. And then, your soul, purged, embellished, enriched, will be like a king returning victorious from a most fierce war, who, while he thought he would lose what he possessed, comes back more glorious and filled with immense riches. Then will I come, I will form my dwelling in you, and we will be always together. It is true that your state will be painful. The demons will give you no more peace, either at daytime or at night. They will always be in act of waging a most fierce war against you. But you, always keep your aim at what I want to make of you, that is, making you similar to me, and at the fact that you will not be able to arrive at this, other than by means of many and great tribulations. In this way, you will have more courage to sustain the pains. Who can tell how frightened I was at such an announcement? I felt my blood freeze, my hair curl, my imagination full of black ghosts that seemed to want to devour me alive. It seemed to me that, before putting me in that painful state, the Lord gave freedom to everything I was to suffer, and I saw myself surrounded by all this. So I turned to him and said, Lord, have pity on me. Oh, please, do not leave me alone and abandoned. I see that the rage of the demons is such that they will leave not even the dust of myself. How shall I be able to resist them? My misery is well known to you, and also how bad I am. Therefore, give me new grace that I may not offend you. My Lord, the pain that most torments my soul is to see that you too must leave me. Ah, to whom shall I say a word any more? Who will teach me? However, may your will be always done. I bless your holy will. And he benignly continued to say, Do not afflict yourself so much. Know that I will never allow them to tempt you beyond your strengths. If I allow this, it is for your good. I never put souls in battles so that they may perish. First I measure their strengths, I give them my grace, and then I put them in. And if some souls fall, it is because they do not remain united to me by means of prayer. No longer feeling the sensitivity to my love, they go begging for love from the creatures, while I alone can satiate the human heart. They do not let themselves be guided by the sure path of obedience, believing more in their own judgment than in those who guide them in my place. So, what is the wonder if they fall? Therefore, what I recommend to you is prayer. Even if you should suffer pains of death, you must never neglect that which you are used to doing. Even more, the more you see yourself in the abyss, the more you will invoke the help of the one who can free you. Still more, I want you to place yourself, blindly, in the hands of the confessor, without examining what is being said to you. You will be surrounded by darkness, and will be like one who has no eyes, and who needs a hand to guide her. The eye for you will be the voice of the confessor, which, like light, will clear the darkness from you. The hand will be obedience, which will be your guide and support to make you reach a safe harbor. The last thing I recommend to you is courage. I want you to enter the battle with intrepidity. The thing that an adversary army fears the most is to see courage, strength, and the way in which one challenges the most dangerous fights without fearing anything. So the demons are. There is nothing they fear more than a courageous soul who, all clinging to me, with a strong spirit, goes into their midst, not to be wounded, but with the firm resolution of wounding them and exterminating them. The demons are frightened, terrified, and would rather flee, but they cannot, because they are bound by my will, and they are forced to stay, to their greater torment. Therefore, do not fear them, for they can do nothing to you without my will. And then, when I see that you can no longer resist and are about to fail, if you are faithful to me, I will come immediately, I will put everyone to flight, and I will give you grace and strength. Courage, then, courage. Now, who can tell the change that occurred in my interior? Everything was horror for me. That love which I felt in me before, I saw now changed into atrocious hate. What pain, not being able to love him. The thought that that Lord who had been so good to me, I was now forced to abhor and curse, as if he were the most cruel enemy, tortured my soul. I could not look at him, even through his images, because in looking at them, in holding rosaries in my hands, in kissing them, I had such rushes of hate and such strength, that doing that and reducing everything to pieces was the same. And sometimes I put up such resistance that my nature trembled from head to foot. Oh God, what a most bitter pain. I believe that if in hell there were no other pains, just the pain of not being able to love God would form the most horrible hell. Many times the devil would place before me the graces that the Lord had given me, now as a crafting of my imagination, so that I would make a life more free, more comfortable, and now as true, and they reproached me by saying, "Is this the love he had for you? Is this the recompense, leaving you in our hands? You belong to us, everything is over for you, there is nothing left to hope for." And I felt such rushes of indignation against the Lord, and of desperation being cast into my interior, that many times, if I found myself with some images in my hands, the power of the indignation was such that I would tear them apart. But while doing this, I would cry and kiss it, but I don't know how I was forced to do it. Now, who can tell the torment of my soul? The demons made feast and laughed. Some would make noise from one point, some from another. Some would yell and shout, some would deafen me with screams, saying, "See how you belong to us. There is nothing left but taking you to hell, body and soul. And then you will see what we will do to you." Sometimes I felt myself being pulled, now from my clothes, now from the chair on which I was kneeling. They would move it and yell so much that I could not pray. And sometimes the fear was such that, thinking I could free myself, I would go and lay down in bed, since these dins occurred mostly at night, but even there, they would follow me, pulling the pillow and the blankets. Now, who can tell the fright, the fear I felt? I myself did not know where I was, whether on earth or in hell. The fear that they would really take me away was such that I could no longer close my eyes to sleep. I was like one who has a cruel enemy who has sworn to take his life away at any cost, and I believed that this would happen to me as soon as I would close my eyes. Therefore I